The Federal Witness Protection Program was developed in 1971 by Justice Department employee Gerald Shurand and is administered by the United States Department of Justice and operated by the United States Marshals Service that is designed to protect threatened witnesses before, during, and after a trial. It gave families and individuals a safe space after tipping off law enforcement to serious crimes, in which the United States Attorney General may provide for the relocation and protection of a witness or potential witness of the federal or state government in an official proceeding concerning an organized crime or other serious offenses. Protecting whistleblowers from the dangerous criminals they implicate doesn't come cheap. By some estimates, the government spends upwards of $10 million annually to keep the WITSEC program going, but witnesses with information so provocative their life is at risk make for strong cases. Trials involving WITSEC have an 89% conviction rate. Witnesses in the program are protected by the United States Marshals Service, a federal law enforcement agency in the United States. The USMS is a bureau within the U.S. Department of Justice, operating under the direction of the Attorney General, but serves as the enforcement arm of the United States federal courts to ensure the effective operation of the judiciary and integrity of the Constitution. It is the oldest U.S. federal law enforcement agency, created by the Judiciary Act of 1789 during the presidency of George Washington as the Office of the United States Marshal. The USMS, as it stands today, was established in 1969 to provide guidance and assistance to U.S. Marshals throughout the federal judicial districts. The U.S. Marshals assigned with forging new identities for these individuals are notoriously guarded and rarely speak on the record about program specifics. The Witness Security Program is designed to create total anonymity for witnesses and help them blend into a new city where they most likely won't be recognized. The United States has more than 300 million people and thousands of cities in which to hide a protected witness. Following the acceptance of a witness into the program, the Marshals Service is tasked with creating a new identity and finding a new city for the witness, his family, and any endangered associates. This requires the coordination of multiple government agencies, good timing, and total secrecy. Here are some of the most interesting secrets about the program. Number 1. They're mostly criminals. It is estimated that less than 5% of relocated witnesses are completely free of any wrongdoing. The vast majority are criminals looking to be absolved of charges for their activities and protected from retribution. Number 2. They usually keep their first name. Relocated witnesses were not usually given unfamiliar new names. To help them acclimate to their new identities, Gerald Shurand usually allowed them to keep the same first name and even their initials. Children learning their new last names are sometimes told to practice writing them. While witnesses are given a fresh start in a new community, their past transgressions are not completely ignored. The Marshal Service often notifies local law enforcement in the new community of the presence of the witness and his or her criminal history. The Marshal Service also can mandate random drug or alcohol testing and set other conditions to ensure the success of the program. Number 3. Criminals have used it to commit more crimes. A handful of witnesses used one new identity to run up significant debt, then told marshals they'd been spotted by a rival and feared retribution. With another new name and city, they were able to flee creditors successfully and collect more cost of living money from WITSEC. At one point, 32 witnesses had collectively racked up $7.3 million in unsecured debt, leading officials to begin threatening disclosure of their new identities to creditors if the money wasn't repaid. Number 4. Having a choice where they live. The Justice Department tricked witnesses during the orientation process. Before beginning their new lives, witnesses are asked where they'd like to move to. But this is just a trap. All of the places witnesses mention are immediately noted as places they will never get to live in because sending witnesses somewhere they'd like to live is too risky. If they're willing to tell the government they'd like to live somewhere specific, then they've likely told other people. Number 5. You can talk to your family. One of the most common facts about the Witness Protection Program is that those who enter its protection must cut off all ties to their old life. That means they can't contact anyone. Friends and even family are suddenly off limits. But this isn't true. Witnesses can communicate with the people they've left behind. and they can contact their family members. The trick is that it must be done in total secrecy. So, if you'd like to reach out to your parents or siblings, you can write a letter. A US Marshal will deliver that letter to your family, and they'll take it away once it's been read. Witnesses can also make phone calls to their families. They just can't do so unless they're using a secure phone line that's set up specifically by WITSEC. Number 6. Witness protection exists because of the Mafia. The mob was running rampant in the 1960s, and the federal government was having a terrible time getting any evidence of its crimes. Since they have a code that made them treat each other like family, any mob-connected individual who tried to testify would be taken out. So the US had to come up with something that protected their witnesses. So, the Federal Witness Protection Program was created. It eventually turned into WITSEC, and it became the highly successful program it is today. And thanks to its Mafia origins, it also became widely successful at putting mob criminals behind bars. Today, the Witness Security Program is essential to the prosecution of hundreds of cases. Without it, many witnesses would never come forward or would be killed if they did. With the protection provided by the program, witnesses can testify and then disappear when the trial is over, and the criminals they testify against are almost always convicted. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to find out more interesting topics. And as always, thanks for watching.